welcome back to the channel. First of all, an apology. This is a day late. I appreciate it's a day late. I really wanted to shoot some stuff while I was away over the weekend in Italy. It didn't happen. Lots of reasons. Very, very busy. Very, very cold. Broke a lens. It's on its way to be repaired. Don't panic. Just didn't get a chance to do it. Got back. Didn't really have an opportunity to record anything yesterday in order to get stuff out on schedule like I normally would on a Tuesday, sort of late afternoon, early evening. It's been a bit of a roller coaster ride for me this last sort of week and a half. But I touched down from Italy, World Winter Tri Champs on Monday night, and I've just basically been catching up with life ever since. The point of today's video, what I want to talk about, so I got an email from a subscriber of the channel, a guy called Simon, who I know a little bit from Instagram and stuff, and he posed an interesting kind of question really. It was to do with a photo critique that I did a couple of weeks ago. He had a selection of like 3 photos that he thought would work really well, but he was struggling to kind of do anything with them and pick the ones that he wanted, all that kind of stuff. And it made me think about the fact that, like, I shot about 9,000 images over 5 days on the weekend over in Italy for the World Triathlon Winter Triathlon Championships. So, like, picking those down to the select few that I did was something that I did quite a lot. It obviously is a bit of a challenge, but not everybody understands how to do it and how to do it in the right way. So, like, that's just how it is. So Simon's email. So here we go. If you took 3 photos of the same thing and you could only pick, how would you choose? I'm not talking about different frames or sequences, but if you only wanted to pick one swim exit silhouette photo, for example, and you took from a few different angles, different athletes, how would you do it? Here's the 3 photos that were stuck on, which I'll put in the thing in a minute. They're all from Super League Jersey 2019. 3 different reasons, blah, 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 blah. Awesome. They're really cool. I kind of like them. I purposely went for an angle. This is really important, right? I purposely went for an angle that nobody was getting. The best angle with the best backgrounds with press area, which obviously I didn't have. This often happens, right? When you're first starting out and you don't have lovely full access all areas, you need to work different angles. You need to think about the angles that other people aren't getting, because that helps you stand out. Here we go. So how would you pick? Have you thought about moments where you've had to choose one photo but struggled to make the decision? Yes, Simon, I have. Right, this isn't easy, okay? So I would love to say that I've got this beautiful system of how I select the image that I then share out, whether that's in a gallery of 30 or 50 or whatever, it doesn't really matter. But what I tend to do is, if I've got a selection of images that I like, obviously they're going to be sharp, they're going to be composed nicely the way I want to. Anything that doesn't fit those kind of 2 things, it gets discarded straight away. So I'm looking for ones that are nicely composed, that for me look interesting and look a little bit different. If they meet those kind of criteria, is it sharp? Yes. Can I edit it? Like, if it's wildly uneditable and I can't pull it back, then I'll discard it. Like, is it close enough to where I want it to be? Does it look interesting? Is it nice and sharp? Tick, 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 happy days. Right, now we're going to start picking out the ones that I like. The way I do that, I hate to say it, I do it on feel. So if I'm drawn to a certain image straight away, that's the one I pick. If I'm in a situation where I've got, like Simon is here, right? It's a celebration shot of 3 triathletes. It is of Pierre Lecour, Vincent Luis, and Hayden Wild. Like, if you've got that and you want to show off that celebration photo, what I would do is I look for the ones that's the most interesting. Which image am I drawn to first as opposed to the others? Now, everyone does that, but what they then do is they then sit and guess themselves. And they go, well, maybe it should be this one, or maybe it should be that one. But your gut feel has told you and has led you to one of those photos for a reason. So stick with that. That's usually the one that sits about right for me. That's how I do it. If it doesn't feel right when I look at it, I discard it. What helps with me sometimes is when I'm out shooting, like, I'll know when I'll get the shot that I want. So I'll be working an angle, all that kind of stuff. I'll be waiting for an athlete to come through frame. I'll have composed it the way I wanted to. Like, I know that it's the shot that I want. So obviously I can then pick back through those photos later when I'm culling them out, and I can find the one I want. happy days, move on. But sometimes, like celebrations, for this example, for Simon's a really good thing. Like my example from last weekend, Winter World Tri Champs, I lost count of how many podiums and stuff we shot, but like, you can't show every photo that you take, but you are going to take quite a lot of photos because you're waiting for that moment to happen, or you're seeing stuff and you're capturing that. The ones that I then go for are the ones that for me feel right. Like for me, it's all done on feel. If it's sharp, if it's composed nicely, the rest of that decision making process for the ones that I pick is on feel. Do I like the way it looks? Is it cool? Is it creative looking? Happy days. Now sometimes you will do, when you're working commercially, you've got branding partners and all that kind of stuff that you need to bear in mind. So if your client wants a specific image with a specific logo in it, there's going to be times when you'll have a really cool image but you can't use it, or you can't send it back to a client because it hasn't got the logo on or it hasn't got the branding on. That's a slightly different thing. But for me, if I'm just picking out my favorites for an event or a race or a match or whatever it is, even if it's in studio, even if I'm shooting with studios like we did the other week with Sophie Caldwell, the images that I'm picking out and I'm delivering back to a client are the ones that for me, when I go back through them and I'm looking, are the ones that I get drawn to straight away. They're the ones that feel right. If I then need to add into that mix later because I haven't got enough, or the client wants a few more, whatever it might be, then I'll go back and I'll do that. But those initial decisions, once I've got rid of the ones that aren't in focus and look crap and all that kind of stuff, I'm looking for the one that feels right. Sounds really, really wishy-washy, but unfortunately it's the way that I do it, but it's always worked for me. So what I would say is, if you're in a similar position to Simon, you've got like a couple of nice shots in a sequence or whatever it might be, go on feel. Which one are you drawn to first? Because if that's the one that if you're drawn to a certain one first, that's there for a reason. So edit it, get it out, crack on. If looking back a couple of weeks later you go, actually, yeah, I'm not that happy with it, then the next time you go out and shoot that thing, that race, that event, that match, whatever it might be, you shoot it a different way, you look at it a different way. This isn't about you creating one standalone image that stands the length of time. This is about you going, actually, do you know what, I really like that photo in this moment, cool, crack on. You might look at it in 6 months time and go, yeah, it doesn't really feel right, you know, I could have done better, and therefore the next time you go out and shoot, you do better, or you change it, or you do something a bit different. But go on feel rather than it need to be specific. For me, out of the 3 photos that Simon's given me, I would go for the crop one, the nice and tight one. I just like the fact that it's the 3 of them together. There's some nice branding on there for Super League, there's some nice branding on there for Red Bull. You can see the crowd in the background, you can see the trophy in Vince's hands. It just works really, really well. The other ones for me, yeah, they show a bit of the context because they show everything else, but maybe they're a bit too open for me. I like to go a little bit tighter with stuff like that. It's just a personal thing. Try it when you're out shooting next time and you've got that dilemma of like, which photos do I pick? Just go and feel, which ones are you drawn to first? If that's 10, 15, 20, 45, it doesn't matter. What are you drawn to first? Go from there. Have an awesome rest of the week. I'm going to take my trophy and go and edit this video so that I can get it out for you later today. Have an awesome rest of the week. I will be back on time next week. I'm going to sort some stuff out in the next couple of days. Really busy few weeks coming up. Absolutely crazy. My lens will be back, fingers crossed, in the next few days, repaired. And I'll be back vlogging as normal because I'll be back on schedule, but it's just been crazy. Have an awesome rest of the week. Have an awesome rest of the day. I will catch you all very soon.